Let's go to El Salvador and MSNBC's David Noriega, who's there with the very latest for us. David, you're in the neighborhood where Abrego Garcia grew up. What are you hearing from people there?
We have not done a forensic of what just went wrong.
So I'm in a district of San Salvador called San Marcos. This is where Abrego Garcia spent his childhood. Now, back in the 2000s, when he was growing up here, this neighborhood, like so many in the city, was controlled by gangs. More than the government itself, the gangs controlled this neighborhood. The family says that is why a young Kilmer at 16 years old had to flee to the United States because the gangs were targeting him for forcible recruitment. Now, in the last 3 or 4 years, things here have changed dramatically. 5 years ago, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing now, standing on the street, talking to people, filming, without permission from the gang that controlled this neighborhood. Today, that is different. That is because the president here, Nayib Bukele, launched a sweeping crackdown against the gangs. He incarcerated more than 80,000 people, many without due process, in prisons that are notorious for being impossible to access. Once people are in prison in this country, they have very little to no contact with the outside world. Now, those are the circumstances under which Abrego Garcia and the 200-plus other deportees from the United States now find themselves in. People who live in neighborhoods like this, what they tell me is that on the one hand, they're very happy that things are peaceful. They can go out at any time of day or night. They don't have to worry about crossing invisible boundaries between different territories controlled by different gangs, and they're very grateful to the president for that. But also people are afraid, and are palpably afraid, because they know there are many stories of people getting swept up in this crackdown and thrown in prison with little recourse over very little evidence or for misunderstandings or for false accusations. And so people, on the one hand, they're very grateful and they enjoy this feeling of safety, but they're also afraid. And the last thing I'll say, Ana, is that the human rights advocates and lawyers that I've been speaking to here in El Salvador, they say that the conditions of the mega prison where people are incommunicado, that's the default state for the Salvadoran prison system. And they're hoping that having their country at the center of international media attention will shed some light on those larger conditions. Ana?
Well, we appreciate you shedding light for all of us on the situation there on the ground in El Salvador. David Noriega, thank you for your reporting. Now, one of those Congress members who just visited El Salvador is joining us now. Congressman Robert Garcia from California. Congressman, you're just back from El Salvador. What came of your visit? Any progress?
He's struggling here because
I think it's really important that people are there to continue the pressure on what is clearly an illegal deportation of Kilmer Garcia and so many others. To be really clear, the United States Supreme Court has voted a 9-0 unanimous decision that Kilmer needs to be facilitated and have him return back to the United States. Lower courts have affirmed this. The Trump administration themselves have admitted that they sent Kilmer Garcia there on accident. So there is no reason why he should not be back home. And the real issue is really beyond an immigration story here or an immigration crisis. This is about the rule of law. It's about due process. It's about everyone in this country who, under the Constitution, is afforded due process, whether they're a U.S. citizen, a temporary resident, on a student visa. That is a bedrock of the United States of America. Now, we had meetings yesterday, classified briefings with the U.S. ambassador, folks on the ground, Kilmer's family, very, very productive, putting a lot of pressure on the Salvadorian government and press to ensure that he is brought back home, but also lifting up the case of so many others that have also received no due process. And I will say that we feel good about our efforts to continue this pressure, and now the president needs to do the right thing.
Congressman, here is Speaker Johnson's statement about your visit there. He wrote on X yesterday. Today, House Democrats traveled to El Salvador as part of their obsession to bring a violent illegal alien and member of MS-13 back into the United States. Could the contrast be more clear? House Republicans remain committed to doing everything we can to protect American families and keep dangerous gang members out of our country. And I should note, just a quick fact check there, that there